right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to go over our test that we took on Monday. For every single question, you're identifying the part, the total, and the percent. You'll know two of them out of the question, and you're trying to find the third one. Using your equation, part to total equals percent to 100. So in this question, we don't know the part, but we do know that the percent is 30 out of 100. And we do know that the total is 400. So when we talk about solving a proportion, we know that we've got two methods. Number one, we can either cross multiply and divide. So two steps, cross multiply and divide, or we can find a multiplier. Either way, we will set the equation equal. Multiplier. There we go. In this case, we can see that there's an obvious multiplier between 100 and 400, and that would be times 4. So we could multiply both parts of our fraction times 4, giving us a total of 120 for the part that is missing. So 120 is 30% of 400. Number two, we know the percent is 90 out of 100. We know that the test had 50 questions, so that's a total of 50 questions, and we want to know how many he got incorrect. So first, let's figure out how many he got correct. Again, cross multiply and divide, or find a multiplier. In this case, we're not looking for a multiplier necessarily. We can see that 50 times 2 would equal 100, but we're not trying to do times 2, we're actually trying to go backwards. So in this case, we're finding a divider. And we could divide by 2 to get back to 50. Well, whatever you do to the top, you must do to the bottom. So we could divide this by 2 and give us 45. Obviously, if he got a 90% on the test, he didn't get 45 wrong, he got 45 right. And the question is, how many did he get incorrect? How many did he get wrong? So the part that we're looking for is 5. 5 questions wrong. Okay? Number 3, the school principal spent $2,000 to buy some new computer equipment. Of this money, $120 was used to buy some new keyboards. So he had a total of $2,000, or she had a total of $2,000, and $120 of it was used to buy keyboards, and we're looking for the percent. So this is something out of 100. We know the part is 120. We know that the total is 2,000, and we are looking to make this an equal proportion. Again, we can cross multiply and divide, or we can find a multiplier. I can also simplify to make my life easier, so I could divide this by 10 on both parts and get 12 and 200, and then there's an obvious multiplier between 100 and 200, and that's times 2. But again, we're going from the bigger equation, or the bigger fraction, to the smaller fraction. So instead of a multiplier, I'm using a divider. So I'm dividing by 2. 200 divided by 2 will give us 100. So 120 divided by 2 will give us 60. Oh, but it's not 120. What am I talking about? Oh my goodness. 12 divided by 2 will give us 6. Giving us 6%. Number 4, she spent $21 of her $300 paycheck. So 21 is what she spent. She had a total of 300, and we are looking for what percent. So part is 21, total is 300. Again, we've got an obvious multiplier between 100 and 300, and that's times 3, but we're working backwards. So we'll use the divider of 3 and the divider of 3, giving us 21 divided by 3 equals 7. So 7 out of 100 is 7%. Number 5, 12 of the students, so 12 is going to be part, in the school choir like to sing solos. These 12 students make up 24% of the choir. How many students are in the choir? So we are looking for the total. So we know the part, we don't know the total, we know the percent, and we know that that's always out of 100. Again, obvious multiplier, 12 times 2, but we're working it backwards, so we're going to use the divider of 2. 24 divided by 2 gives us 12, so 100 divided by 2 gives us 50. There are 50 total students in the choir. Number 6, 9% of the pizzas made last week had an extra cheese, so we've got 9%. If 27 pizzas had extra cheese, how many pizzas in all? So obviously I'm looking for the total, and I know the part that was extra cheese. 27 part, don't know the total, 9 out of 100 for the percent. Again, there's another obvious multiplier. 9 times 3 gives you 27. Well, since I am going from the smaller number to the bigger number, I keep with the multiplier. 9 times 3 is 27. 100 times 3 is 300. So we made 300 pizzas total. Number 7, at a shelter, 15% of the dogs are puppies, so I know the percent. There are 60 dogs at the shelter. How many are puppies? So I don't know the part that are puppies, but I do know the total number of dogs. 60 total, 15 out of 100. This one does not tend to have an obvious multiplier unless you simplify this fraction. So if I want to simplify this fraction, I could divide by 5, giving me 3 out of 20. And then I have an obvious multiplier between 20 and 60. 20 times 3, 20, 40, 60, would give me 60. Whatever I do to the bottom, must do to the top. So 3 times 3 would give me 9. There are 9 puppies. Number 8, Carl has 200 songs on his MP3 player. Of these songs, 24 are country. So there's a part that are country, and there's a total number of songs. And I'm looking for what percent are country songs. I've got a part to total fraction. I don't know the percent, but I do know that this is 100. There's an obvious multiplier here between 100 and 200. That's times 2. But I'm working backwards, so I'll use the divider of divided by 2. That means I've got to use the divider here, giving me 12 out of 100, which is 12% that are country songs. Number 9, the sales tax in the town where Amanda lives is 7%, so I know the percentage. Amanda paid $35 in sales tax. Well, obviously that's going to be a part that she's paying, because the whole is what she paid for the television. What was the price of the TV? I know the part, I don't know the total, I know the percent, and I see that there's an obvious multiplier between 7 and 35, and that's times 5. Whatever I do to the bottom, must do to the top, times 5, which makes our TV $500 total. Number 10, write 66% as a fraction in simplest form. We know that percent is just a form of fraction of 66 out of 100. Simplest form means I'm looking for a number that will go into both, a common factor of both the numerator and the denominator. Since they're both even, then I could divide by 2, giving me 33 out of 50, and there is no other common factor, so that's my final answer. Make sure you've recorded all of this information. Miss Dalton and I love you enough to give you a retest on Thursday, so take this home and study tonight.